Today's just one of those days where I just woke up with a fire under my belly. You can't explain it, but you just kind of want to break through walls sometimes. You're supposed to be building something bigger than where you currently are. And I get that feeling a lot. And for the longest time, I didn't know what to do with it. I'd feel that fire, I'd look around at my circumstances, and the fire would just sometimes die. But because of that bank account didn't match that vision, the results didn't match the effort. Reality didn't match what I felt inside. And I think maybe a lot of you feel like that way too. You've got this burning in you, this belief that you were meant for something more. But every time you look at where you're at, it's like cold water onto the flames. So today I want to talk about something that completely changed how I operate. Something that I learned from studying Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich, Law of Success, Outwitting the Devil, all of that stuff. And the idea is simple. It's actually really hard to live by though. You want to act as if it's already done. Not fake it until you make it. Not toxic positivity. Not pretending everything's fine when it's not. I mean actually moving through your life like the outcome you want is already certain. Like the door is already open. Like you just haven't walked through it just yet. And I know that stuff sounds woo-woo, but stay with me. Because when I actually started applying this, I wasn't just thinking about it, I was living it, and then everything shifted. So Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the most successful people of his time. Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, Schwab. And one thing he noticed across all of them, they also didn't wait for proof before they believed. They made the decision first. Then the proof showed up. Like Henry Ford, this guy decided he was going to put a car in every American driveway. At a time when cars were just toys for rich people, everyone thought he was insane. His own engineers told him that some things were just impossible, and he just said do it anyway. He didn't hope it would work out, he decided it would. And he moved like it was already done. Or Edison, 10,000 failed experiments to try to make the light bulb work. That's 10,000 times. And someone asked him, how does it feel to fail 10,000 times? And he said, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that just won't work. That's not just persistence. That's a man who already saw the result in his mind. He was just waiting for reality to catch up. And that's the thing Hill kept coming back to. Your life bends to your assumptions. The way you expect things to go is usually the way they go. Not because of magic, but because of your expectations shape your actions. Your actions shape your results, and your results shape your reality. So if you wake up every day expecting things to be hard, expecting to fail, expecting people to reject you, you're going to move in a way that makes that true. You'll hesitate, you'll hedge, you'll half-ass it. Then when it doesn't work out, see, I knew it. But what if you flipped it? What if you woke up even without proof and you assumed it was working? You assumed the doors were opening. You assumed the breakthrough was close. You would move differently. You would speak differently. You would show up completely different. And that changes everything. So here's where most people get stuck. They hear this and go, okay, cool, I'll just believe harder. And then nothing changes. Because belief isn't just a thought. Belief is action. He called it faith, but not in a religion sense. He meant that this deep knowing that what you're going to be building is going to work. A knowing so strong you don't need to see it yet. You carry it in your mind and you act from that place. But here's the problem. Most of us spend years programming ourselves with doubt. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I'm not good enough? How many times have you imagined the worst case scenario? How many times have you talked yourself out of something before you even tried? That's programming. That's repetition. And your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you tell it over and over. Hill said something that stuck with me too. He said that your subconscious mind doesn't respond to what's true. That doesn't matter. It responds to what's repeated. That's why someone can objectively, who's talented, can still feel like a fraud. Because they've repeated, I'm not enough, so many times that their subconscious actually believes it. And that's why someone else can be average on paper, but absolutely dominate in life. Because they've repeated, I figure things out and I always win, until their subconscious made it true. So the question isn't, do you believe in yourself? The question is, what have you been repeating? Because whatever you've been repeating, that's what you actually believe. That's your operating system. That's the script running in the background of every decision you make. And if that script's full of doubt and fear and what ifs, then no amount of motivation is going to fix it. You have to rewrite the script. By the way, if this is resonating with you, if you're the type of person who actually thinks about this stuff and wants to get better, please subscribe. I make these videos for people like us. People who feel that fire and actually want to do something with it. All right, let's keep going. So how do you actually rewrite the script? Repetition. I know that sounds too simple, but Hill obsessed with the idea of autosuggestion, which is basically talking to yourself, but on purpose. Not in a crazy way, but in a strategic way. You decide who you want to become, and you write it down. And you repeat it to yourself out loud with emotion every single day until your subconscious accepts it as fact. And I'll be honest, when I first heard this, I thought it was kind of stupid. Like, I'm just going to talk to myself, I'm confident, suddenly I'll be confident. That's not how it works. But then I realized I was already doing autosuggestion, but in the wrong direction. Every time I said I, suck at sales, that's autosuggestion. Every time I said I'm not a morning person, autosuggestion. Every time I said people like me don't get opportunities like that, autosuggestion. I was programming myself for mediocrity without even realizing it. So I started being intentional about it. I started saying things like, I figure things out. I'm the type of person who follows through. Things work out for me. I don't quit. At first it felt like I was lying to myself. But here's what Hill understood, what most people don't. You're not describing your current reality. You're programming your future identity. It's not a lie, it's a decision. You're deciding who you're going to be. And then you're repeating it until your subconscious gets on board. The strongest loop always wins. So you have to make sure your strongest loop is the one you actually want. I say my vision out loud every morning now. I know what I'm building, I know who I'm becoming, and I repeat it because repetition is the language of the subconscious. Your brain doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you repeat. So repeat something worth becoming. Now here's the part where nobody talks about. If you're going to become someone new, the old you has to die. I don't mean that to be dramatic, like burn your life down kind of way. I mean, you can't hold on to your old identity and build a new one at the same time. You can't be the person who quits when it gets hard and the person who builds something great. You can't be the person who needs external validation and the person who leads with certainty. You can't be the person who always has an excuse and the person who always finds a way. Hill talked about this idea of burning the bridge, making a decision so final that there's no path back. Not because you're being reckless, but because you're being committed. And when you leave yourself an exit, when you keep the backup plan warm, you're telling your subconscious, I might not make it. And your subconscious goes, cool, I'll prepare for that. But when you burn the bridge, when you decide this is happening and there is no other option, something shifts. Carnegie talked about this with his men. He didn't want guys who were interested in success. He wanted guys who were obsessed. Guys who would burn the bridge to every other pursuit. Because a divided mind is a defeated mind. You cannot serve two identities. So ask yourself honestly, what parts of the old you are you still hanging on to? What excuses are you still keeping warm? What backup plans are you still entertaining? Because as long as those exist, you're giving the old identity oxygen and it will keep you from showing up. The hesitation, the self-doubt, the maybe I'm not cut out for this. That's the old you fighting to stay alive. And you have to let him or her die. Not by forcing it, but by starving it. So every time you repeat the new identity, the old one gets weaker. Every time you take action from the new identity, the old one loses power. Every time you choose certainty over comfort, you're killing who you used to be. And I know that sounds intense, but this is what transformation actually requires. You don't keep yourself, you don't get to keep your old self and your new life. You have to choose. If you're feeling this, if something inside you is like, yeah, the old me needs to go, then you're in the right place. Please subscribe. Let's keep building this together. So let me bring this all together. Act like it's already done. That's the thesis. But what does that actually look like day to day? It looks like waking up before you check your phone, before you see what the world wants from you. You remind yourself of who you're becoming. You speak it. You feel it. You set the tone for the day. It looks like walking into rooms with a different energy. Again, it's not arrogance, it's certainty. The quiet confidence of a man who knows where he's going. It looks like making decisions faster, because when you know the outcome is certain, you don't need to overthink every step. You trust yourself. You move. It looks like handling setbacks differently, not as evidence that you're failing, but as part of the process. It's confirmation that you're actually in the game. Because people who never try never get setbacks. Edison didn't see 10,000 failures. He saw 10,000 steps towards the inevitable result. That's the frame. That's act as if. When you assume the outcome is certain, obstacles look different. The delays feel different. The criticism hits different. Because you're not wondering if it's going to work. You're just wondering when. And that changes everything about how you carry yourself. I want you to try something. For the next 30 days, wake up and say this out loud. Everything is working in my favor. I act without hesitation. The outcome is certain, I just haven't arrived yet. Say it when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it. Because that's when it matters most. That's when you're overriding the old programming. That's when you're proving to your subconscious that you're serious. And then move like it's true. Make the call you've been avoiding. Start the project you've been delaying. Have the conversation you've been scared of. Because action is belief made visible. You can't just think yourself into a new identity. You have to walk yourself into it. That's what all those guys understood. Ford, Edison, Carnegie, Hill. They didn't wait to feel ready. They decided they were ready. They acted accordingly. And yeah, sometimes they were scared. Sometimes they doubted. Sometimes they had no idea if it was going to work. But they moved anyway. Because faith isn't the absence of fear. Faith is moving toward despite the fear. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting for the feeling. Stop waiting for the proof. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You are the permission. You are the proof. You are the breakthrough you've been waiting for. And the moment you start acting like it, the moment you start walking like it's already done, the world starts rearranging itself around you. Not because of magic, but because you finally got out of your own way. I don't know who needed to hear this today, but if you're feeling that fire in your belly right now, if something in you is saying, yeah, this is it, then trust that. That fire is there for a reason. Don't let the world put it out. Drop a comment and tell me what you're building. I want to know. And if this hit you the way it did, which I hope it did, subscribe. Share it with someone who needs it. And come back tomorrow ready to work. Or today, even better. Because we're not average here. We're not here to play small. We're here to build something that matters. And it starts with a decision. It starts with acting as if. So go do that. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.